Small questions to all of you. Everybody inside, anybody out? No, everybody. So, how many of you have read more than half I told you one page to read by today evening? How many of you have read more than half of that? How many of you have read less than half? Less than half? That gentleman has work also. But at the end, the character of that character. But why get out of college? දෙවුනට කියවන්න ඕනේ මොකක්ද තියාගන්න ඕනේ. හරි මේ ගිහින් හරියන්නේ නැහැ. මේක දැන් කවර් කරන්න වෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ මේක දෙයක් සිද්ධ වෙන නම් අනිවාර්යෙන්ම තේරුම් ගන්න එහෙම කියන්නේ තමයි. You must continue to read completely. You know, if you don't understand or it doesn't matter, this will have some effect on your brain. You know, special positive energy rather than you sit down or relax. This is with my own experience I'm telling, for you to get something very in a short time. Okay, 5 days. Because I told you these words have a mystical, coming out of wisdom. Even when they're chanted, you find there are blessings coming to people. Just the sound wave of that. But with the meaning you're going through that, even a little bit you get to know, it's about a profound wisdom. It's not just impermanence here or there. I was just thinking while I was walking also. Profound means it's about our entire existence. Our entire existence, the most underlying truths about our experiences and our existence. So that's why we have to really study, practice this, apply this in a very relaxed way. I was just thinking while I was coming, without any worry, very tension, just like very rested for many days, without any responsibilities, worries, concerns. Like this kind of mind I feel is necessary for one to really, you can take just one point and just go so deep, feel the depth. It's about life. It's about Buddha was enlightened and just walking, and all who prepared for many lives and they are now born and meeting him. They are only meeting him and then he saw and then he gave these instructions we are reading now. Okay? So little bit you can do that in this short time. That's why I said about 2 weeks prior, for you to prepare with reduction of, there's some instructions, more phones and sense stimulation, sexual activities, all that, just prepare for this. And this is a nice guideline. I don't know whether everything is there by organizers have sent it. It's good for you to pursue in the coming days without just, as a human being, as a person, you're preparing your body and life to enlightenment. So if you do your job or do your work, you do that much, you use all these things, but making sure that it's the standard you meet. Otherwise, intellectually you will know something. These are not to be known like that. It is something to be, there's a special eye in the mind, in the brain, which has to be awake. So you have got this thing coming, not an ordinary thing, just coming like this, a definite idea, because it's very rare, I think, in the modern time, because to go back to the olden time and get some idea of how it's really done, it's very, very rare, I would say, in modern days. Because it's more of knowledge, intellectual, reasoning, where sort of explanations a lot. These realizational teachings, what you have to realize. Sometimes we talk a lot about it also. So, it's just spoiled. Which we should be, we can't talk some of these things. It's infinite. Achinte. These experiences are in an infinite experience. Especially inside knowledge, you can't talk about. Even samadhis, they have to be experienced only. When you leave the five senses, then the samadhi comes. So how can you express the language is based on five senses? Sensual world. So insight goes beyond the sixth sense also. Not only five senses, it goes beyond sixth sense. Beyond means there's no another sense as such. It goes, like it leaves leaving every kind of, even actually leaving five senses, getting samadhi, it's one thought. Okay. So normally it looks like thoughtless because we don't have the sensual thoughts of the five sense world. Those thoughts change very fast from one to the other. So when we have one thought, we call it samadhi. And the only time you really don't have one thought also is when you have this wisdom. Okay? It is free of desires, it's free of delusion. So that's Nibbana, it's called. So this is where you're now reading. Okay, some things you're doing, you're a little bit sitting down for metta and anapanasati for the breath to develop concentration, that is to get one thought. Then you're reading here, but now only few things you can contemplate, because I told you to read fast or complete a certain degree, because today, tomorrow, only 2 days. 5 days, that's not like instant noodles or something. This is, it can't happen like that. I can't lie about it. Maybe somebody has some potential, it can trigger also, based on that person's, because he's getting maximum stimulation, someone who has that potential maybe from previous time. But definitely you have some potential, even in this type of world, you have made time and made effort and just come here. That is also shows some tremendous possibility. But, like these 5 days, as I told you, to be silent, to be like alone. So to think of life deeply in original way, not someone has taught you or you heard from past. Without that, your own, sort of make it an own experience. Okay? So now only 1 day, 2 days. So I would like you to complete. So there are some who have not gone, not even half. So don't worry about your situation. Just follow, I have told you to read and complete. I hope today in the evening you can finish that. Evening is I'm not going to be long. Now I think almost given everything what you need to do. So in the night even try to, because I'm going to start a new one now. How many of you now, like when you look at things, or now when you look like this, it like echoes in your mind, this is body feeling perception. මොකක් හරි අපි දැන් මේ බලනකොට අපිට දැන් මේ වෙනකොට ටිකක් මේ දැන් කතා කරන එකත් මේ වේදන රූප වේදනා සංඥා කියලා නිකන් හිතට එනවා. ගන්න පුළුවන් හිතලා ටිකක් ගන්න.
ආයතන 6 ගැන මේ අසකරණාසය කියලා මම කියන්නේ.
ඉන්ද්‍රිය 6 මේක පංච උපාදාන කියන්නේ මේක. එතකොට ඒව මොකක් ගැනද කියුවේ? රූප වේදනා
සංඥා සංඛාර.
එතකොට දැන් මෙහෙම දැන් මහා අඳුර කතා කරනකොට නම් දැන් මේ ඇහෙන දේ මෙහෙම ඇවිල්ලා මෙතන රූප වේදනා සංඥා ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා කියලා කල්පනා කරනවද?
මට මේ විදුනර කලින් මෙතේ තාක්ෂය පැලයක් තියෙනවා. ඒක පොත්තහකේ ඒකත් මේ පැලේට අපි සිරුවේ වැටෙනවා නම් ඒක දානවා නම් ඉතින් ලොකු වෙලා යෙදෙන හිතා තවත් පරම්පරාවක් කරනවා. නමුත් අපි අනුසයල්සින් ඇහැකරනාසේ දිවකයි මන කියන වලට ගන්න හැම දෙයක්ම අනිත්‍යයට දාවලා දැන් මේ වසර ගානක් තිස්සේ මේ පුරුදු කරන්න කියලා එහෙම යනකොට අර ගහට වතුරක් කරන්නේ නැත්නම් ඉරෙලිය නැත්නම් ගහ කොළ මැරෙනවා අත මැරෙනවා මුල් මැරෙනවා ආයේ ඒකේ ඇතිමක් ඉන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ වගේ තමයි රහත් බව කියන එක මට වැටහුණා.
අර වැටුණා කියලා කියන්නේ එපා. ඒ ඔක්කොම හොඳයි. හරි. ඒක සාධාරණ ගැඹුරු පැත්තක් තියෙනවා. يعني සංඥාවේ පැත්ත කොහොමද? The experience is very good. About that marino.
සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මගේ හිතෙන් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි කීප දෙනෙක් කියන සිංහල ඉතින්
මට සත්‍ය වැඩිට පේන්නේ කොහොමද? ඒක නම් ගෲප් එකකට
බුදු කෝටිය පස්සේ බුදු කෝටිය මහරහත් කෝටිය කියලා කෝටියක් තියෙනවානේ. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මම හිතනවා මේගොල්ලෝ කවුරු රහත් වෙන්න ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරන අය වෙන්නේ නැති.
මම හිතනවා කවුරුත් කෙලෙස් නැති කරන්න ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
එහෙම
අමතක රහත් වෙන එකයි බුදු වෙන එකයි ඔක්කොම අමතක කරලා කෙලෙස් නැති වෙන කට්ටිය.
කෙලෙස් නැති වෙන මාර්ගයක් කියලා දෙන්න මේ කාට කියලා මම අනුකම්පාවෙන් ඉල්ලනවා.
අපිට සාමාන්‍ය ජීවිතය එක පේන්නේ හැමෝටම. ඒක තේරුමක් නැහැ. අපේ කෝලකම් ඊශා කොහොම නැවිච්ච හැසිරීමේ වුණ ඒ කාර්ම රෙකෝඩ් වෙනවා රිපෝට් වෙනවා. ඒක කොහොමද මම කරලා බෞද්ධ නාමයේ විතර නෙමෙයි බෞද්ධ මේක උරුමයකට ලැබිලා තියෙන ටිකක්. මේක කරලා කට්ටිය ඇවිදින බෝධි ඇවිදින චෛත්‍ය වල එනවා. මේක මහායි කියනෝනේ මිය හදන්න නැතුව රට හදන්න බෑ කියලා නේද? රට හදන්න මිය හදන්න ඕනේ කියලා. හරි මගේ මහණේ කරන අතන්නේ. මාසිකර කරලා මිය හදන්න ඕනේ හදන්න. ඔක්සප්පේ මේ දෙය මාස්ලය තාම බියල ක්‍රමයක් දාලා. මේක මොකදයක් වෙන්නේ නැතුනේ අනිත් එක ගෙදර ගෙවල් කොට ගියාම මේ කට්ටියට වෙනසක් වෙයි. දැන් සමහර නෝන් ලැබිලා තියෙනවා මහත්තයා. උදාහරණයක් මේකකින් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. හැබැයි නෝන ගියාන් පස්සේ රිට්‍රීට් එකෙන් දැකලා මහත්තයාට එන්න ඕනේ. අන්න ඔක තමයි ක්‍රමය. ඔය ගොඩක් වෙනවා රිට්‍රීට් එකේ හරියට මට එන්න සතුටුයි.
අක්කයි මහත්තයා ඉන්නවා.
කවුද? අමතනවා. ඒක දැන් ඒකට
මට තීක්ෂණ ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ කාර්යයක් දැන් අපි මෙහෙම ඉන්නකොට අපිට ඒ බාහිර දේවල් සම්බන්ධ වීම බොහොම අඩුයි පොඩිම ප්‍රමාණයක්. නමුත් ඒවල් වලට ගියාම ආයි ඒකත් වැඩි වෙනවා.
ඒක හිතන්න එපා. දැන් මෙතන කරගන්න දේවල්. මෙතන ඉඳ පුරුදු වෙන්න. ඉඳ ගැන දැන් කියන මොනවා වේද එහෙම හිතන්න එපා. මේක ඇවිල්ලා එහෙම එතනට ගියා විතර මොනේ පාන්න. දෙයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේ කීවට බලන්නේ ඉන්නේ නැත්නම් ඉතින් මේ කීවට මේ ඉඳලා ගියාට හරියන්නේ නැහැ. අද මේ ප්‍රස්ටිටියුට් එක නේද? එහෙනම් මේක ඉවර කරන්න හරි කියපුත් එක කරන්න අනිවාර්යෙන්ම. ඒක නැත්නම් මට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්න බෑ එහෙනම් මෙලේ යම් දේවල් වීකේ. ඒක අද කන්ද වගේ ඉවර කරන්න මොකද තේරිච්ච So, Armenia කොහොමද?
I finished reading the content.
You already finished? Okay. You just have some occasions to contemplate?
Yes, I did.
And then you know you have to rush to finish, then you say, okay, that's okay, that's the way you should.
There are some sutras very close to my heart.
Okay.
So those I used to do.
In the future, if you're doing second time the retreat, then you will do only which are close to your heart and which is clear, but in this order. Okay? You try to more visualize it, use it for your contemplation. Okay, and right now, in a very subtle way, in a very, very subtle way, when you are unexpected, when your mind is mature, that sparks could happen. That's how you should not expect anything, just do the thing. Reading, emptying the mind, doing work mindfully when you're going, coming, controlling your senses. This is the only thing you should be doing. And if you can already do when you go out of this place, and if you get another retreat or at home, even suddenly in a holiday, you go for a walk with this reading of this, something can happen. It happened to me like that. I had no retreats, nothing at the age of 18 as a young boy. I was going for walks. Solitude is very helpful. I was so absorbed in that thinking. Not Dhamma also, it was physics, some aspects of physics. And just suddenly something is that passing away, is suddenly flash. Everything is like a knowledge. I can't tell you. As I told you, they all fall in the infinite realm of you can't explain. I have explained in some way, just to encourage people, there are visions like this. So otherwise they think just reading this now. It's that this some knowledge I know already. You don't know there is a wisdom, vision of understanding that can arise. That's an intuitive experience. Okay, so that so I tell actually you see these walls now. You see them like solid, right? You see like jelly, jelly. So it's not good for me to tell like this, but. Just an idea, you can't imagine even, this is, if I do what to empty the mind separately and just read, because they are all trying to stimulate that vision. Because they were given when Buddha knew they were matured, then he gave. So what is obstructing that vision is all the reptilian brain, or the food, tasting, then desires, attachments. This is what blurs that ability to get that experience. And you don't try to understand sutras. I was talking with Vendors today. You don't try to understand this. It should come automatically. You just read. That's why if you don't understand, skip to the next one. That's how you should read even when you go back home. And relax, but don't leave. Suddenly, there's something more interesting, some other teaching. Okay, you can try, but better if you can use this, is very good. I'm sorry, for you all, I will invite you in the early morning if you wake up. Maybe you're busy preparing food and okay. So otherwise, it's nice in like 3:20 to 4:30. You must be busy. You're making food, much merit for all of you. Okay, supporting all this. Merits, I hope it will help you support your journey on the spiritual path and get all the strength. I think you wanted to talk or meet also, and maybe tomorrow before we leave. Okay, you can ask something. We can discuss my personal things, and you can tell something about yours. Much merit to support all this activity. they found that early morning meditation is quite good. No? Actually, no need any language, nothing. You can get something for the mind. So, what today I have to start something. Hopefully, if I finish this, and tomorrow I will give some extra sutras. Being the last day. භාවනාවට පරව මේ කටයුත්ත කරනකොට හරි විදියට භාවනා කරන්නේ නැතුව කරොත් මේ තේරෙන්නේ භාවනා කරන්න ඒක සීලය ගැන හිතනවා හිත පිරිසුදු කරගන්න. එතකොට ඒක අර මේ තමයි මොලේ හැදෙනවා මේවා තේරෙන ඒ වැටහෙන එකට. සම්මාසිකේ හෙල්ත් එක හොද වෙනකොට ඉතින් එහෙන් මගේ මව්තුමේ ඉන්නවා එහෙන් එයා තාත්තා බැලුවා මම මේ අවුරුදු 3-4 තුල කොහෙන් ආති අවසන්ට බලනවා ඉතින් වැඩේ කරගෙන යන්න ලේසි නේ ස්ටේඩියම් ඉඳලා තුන අන්තිම ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකේ යනකොට අවු කට්ටිය බලාගෙන හිටපුවේද තමයි මම කාර්යත් කරගන්න බෑ මොනවද වෙන්නේ මටත් තේරෙන්නේ මේක දෙන්න ඉතින් ලේසි නෑ. මේ ඇවිල්ලා කරන්න ලැබෙන්නේ මේ කොහොමද පුළුවන් විදියටම ආවනේ. ලේසි වෙන්නේ නෑ. අපේ හරි පිනයි ශක්තියයි ඒවා තියෙන කල් පොඩ්ඩක් කෙරේ. ඊට පස්සේ නෝ නොකර ඉන්නවනම් ලේසි. ප්‍රශ්නත් නෑ. අපේ ඊට වඩා ප්‍රශ්න. කෙලෙසුත් එක්ක ඉඳලා මොනවා අපවත් වෙන්නේ කොහොමදයි මම බින්නේ. How many of you don't see things yet as body feeling perception like that? Good? How many now I'm talking? Suddenly you cannot like recall maybe now what is speaking now is like it's the body part and then the consciousness like that feeling perception is there. You can't immediately know which part. But like that, does it come or you still don't get it clearly? Did you read like more than now half or?
Yeah. But I think still a little bit conceptual, not really experience.
No, can't experience. It should be conceptual. That's what I think. It should be in form of concept. Okay, but it should be like now if I'm shouting at you, it talks a lot about body as not me and all that, right? No? So many occasions in the repeatedly Buddha is telling body is not you and feelings are not you, right?
Right.
Okay. So now if I come shouting at you, will it make a little difference? Can you take a little bit that this is not me, not I? Will it not work in your mind? Relax. Relax. Like now you have been, it's like it's not you can see something. You cannot from the senses you can have an idea of body feeling perceptions. Okay, it's conceptual again, concept, but it's the right concept. It's in the right direction. Okay, so that now repeatedly told, like in your mind, that should be there, like now at least, like that is body feeling perception, as just noting it. Is it there like that? That much. Or like when you read, now do you have some in memory what you you were reading? Something in the memory you had?
Yes.
Okay. So do you think this is John, or do you think this is like the 5 khandhas are here? What do you think? Say Bhante is here. Do you think Bhante can you, its name given? It's a big concept also, a very delusional concept. Okay? Like a whole it's taken. Jnanaloka Bhante, a name. But is it not Panchupadana Skandha, like Panchupadana Skandha? The 5 skandhas like that, you can also think Bhante is? After reading this, does it come to your mind like that? In general, like a general idea? Not that you're seeing this or something?
Yeah. The idea is there, but it's so easy to think of Bhante as Bhante.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. That's okay. But some idea should be there. That means you are not read at all if there's no idea also. You are read, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that idea should be there. It's going from an idea. You can't first grasp or perceive Panchupadana skandhas, especially consciousness and all that. It's from an idea, and it's right idea. Samadhi. Okay? And this will give you a vision, more of right idea, right vision. We have to use some idea to overcome idea. It's the only idea, good idea, right idea is Samadhi. Right view. Taking it and then also analyzing all that and seeing it as empty, not you. So many times it came. So it must become part, then some sound coming, then slowly you must apply to that. Later. Even if you little bit took one sutra which went to your heart and little bit apply, when you go back also if you can do that, it will help you. It should be used for personal things, something attractive you should use it, apply and remove your attraction. Something irritated. If it constantly, now when I went to the LTT area many years back, it's a young monk, the terrorist area, insurgents or so they have killed many monks in Sri Lanka those days. So they also thought one monk coming, maybe he's mad, to enter the area. They used to ask also, we are LTT, are you not frightened? Like that, they questioned me. And I said, some things I told that time anyway. So how did I see them? I did see them as LTT. I've been already trained for a long time to see this Panchupadana skandha and how it has come karmically. You're given a name from that nation, like, and this karma, that body, you see. So that, from this only, you begin to, get that, slowly that vision. Now, can you think, that idea is also there? It's okay, it's there, right? Don't expect a big vision and, like, it's enough if you see like that. And you'll be able to let go, that's very important. Someone do good to you or bad to you, both will not affect you when you begin to see like that. You're seeing it generally, the general truth about things.
I have a question. So, when I try to see
What can I sing again?
පංචස්කන්ධය කියන බලනකොට
පංචපාදානස්කන්ධය
බලනකොට වක්ලාට එක දකින්නවා ඊට පස්සේ අමතක වෙනවා ආයෙත් එකපාරට
හැබැයි දැන් හරි කමන්නේ මේ ඕක කියවන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා පංචපාදානස්කන්ධය හැටියට කල්පනා වුණාද නැද්ද? මේ රිට්‍රීට් එකෙන් පස්සේද නැත්නම් ඊට කලින් තිබ්බද? Before the retreat, you that idea, now you can have some idea that there is 5 skandhas, okay? Right? Before the retreat, did you have an idea also? Any idea did you have? No. Our Chinese.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Yes, I heard of these ideas, but
now the idea is more confusing.
no. The idea is more clear here, but but still not really able to see, relate to things as if in the five.
You have to take it very generally. You can't take now I saw the color is perception like that. You can't take. Okay, it's so far. You will all mistake that. You just generally know this. You in a moment of thought. Now, say for example, when you agree, maybe I liked it. That is sankhara. When you're not confused, or worried, or not, that is also sankhara. Okay, like that is constantly happening, for example. So you generally have it. You can't study like pinpoint, like scientists study. So sometimes that's why the modern intellectual way try to study like that, and then you will never find it. This is a very different way. You have to generally think and generally contemplate. Then you begin to realize realization can come about it. Not like it is something. That's where real meditation happens. It's like that. So just generally to have. So generally you have that idea within you. You have to develop what you've read, and the emptiness and whatever Buddha has told you, not me, not I, so many times in the past, in the future. Oh, Mother. Oh. Our retreat එකක් අනිවාර්ය කරන්න විතර. ඕක ගැහුම වෙලා ඕකේ තව පැහැදිලි වෙන වෙලාව දේවල් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒක හැබැයි දැන් මග පැහැදිලි තියෙනවා. මොකද ඒක තියෙනවනේ දැන් ඊළඟ එකට යන්න අපි ඒක බලන්නේ අපි දැන් පටන් ගන්නවා. අද හෙට විතරයි දවස් තියෙන්නේ මේකට. හැබැයි අරක තමයි යහමින් තියෙනවනේ. රූප වේදනා සංඥා ඇටිට මනසේ. දැන් මේක එකට තමයි කෙරෙන්නේ.
word of the Buddha කියනකොට ඔය අපේ මහින් හැදිලා තියෙන කියන එක ගොඩක් තේරුම් යනවා. හැබැයි අර අයියා කිව්වා වගේ ඊට දවසක් ගියාම ඒක අමතක වෙනවා. ඒක ආයෙ රිෆ්‍රෙෂ් කරන්න ඕන එක්ක ගොහන්සේගේ හරි ධර්මය අහන්න ඕන ආයෙ ඒක මනසට එන්නේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් පොත කියවන්න.
ඒක හැමදාම කරන්නේ එක්සර්සයිස් එක. ඒක ජිම් එකේ ගිහිල්ලා එක්සර්සයිස් කරනවා වගේ. කොට ඒක කරපු ප්‍රමාණයට අර මසල්ස් හැදෙනවා. බලන්න පුළුවන් හැකියාව හැදෙනවා. අරක බලන්න පුළුවන් මට්ටම ඇති කරපු තරම. ඒක සමගාමීය සතිය. සාමාන්‍ය ජීවිතේ වැඩ කරනකොට සතියයි සමාධි ඒව උදේපාන්දර එහෙම ඒවා කරොත් අරකට තව රුකුලක් වෙනවා. තව මිනිවිදව තව වෙන මට්ටම් වලට අවබෝධ වෙන අවස්ථාවල් හැදෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒ ටික සමගාමී කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒතකොට සාමාන්‍ය වැඩ ටික විතරක් කරලා වෙලාව බලපලින් නරකයි. ඒක හොඳම නෑ. ඒක උරුද්ද වැඩ වලට ඉස්සලා කලින් උදේට මේක ප්‍රයොරිටි එකක් කරගන්න ඕනේ. මානසික ශාන්තියෙන් මේ වැඩ අල්ලන්න. සීලය තිබෙම රැකෙනවා. පරිදි ඉතින් මේ තනියම කරනවා වගේ වෙනවා. මේ ඔක්කොම ලෝකයක් වෙන පැත්තකට යන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒක තමයි පොඩි ගෲප් එකක් හරි හදාගන්න මම එකයි කොහෙද. මේ අර ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ මේ කට්ටියට මම ගියාම ඔක්කොම නිදි. හරියන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ ඕගනයිසර්ස්ලා මොදලාට දැන් හැරිද ඕගනයිසර්ස්ලාට කියනවා. නේද? ඉතින් ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. නැත්නම් පිටරටවල ඒක වැදෙන්න හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ. ප්‍රැක්ටිකලි තියෙන්නේ. ඒක තාම පොඩ යන්නේ කට්ටිය නේද? මම බලනවා ඒක බලමු.
ඉතාලි සාමිනාස මෙහි මේ ෆෝයෝගෙන් අහලා every තියෙනවා නිසාමිනාස
වටිනාම දැන.
ඔබවහන්සේගේ රෙකෝඩින්ග්ස් දාලා ඒවා ගිහින් නැත්නම් සාමිනාසලා
සතියකට එක සැරයක් හරි
සතියකට එකපාරක් අමාරුයි. මාසෙකට එකපාරක්.
බෑ සතියකට සති දෙකට සැරයක් වත් අඩුයි. අනේ මාසෙකට සැරයක් ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවට කරනවා.
Yeah, so every other Saturday.
Oh, every other. But twice a week.
Twice a month.
Twice a month. වගේ අඩුගානේ මම අර නිකන් මාසයක් කියනකොට මේ අර තෝටල් එක නිකන් අර මේක රසයක් එන්නත් ඕනේ. once a week කියනවා හොඳ. දැන් භජන් කොච්චර පාරක් තියෙනවද සතිය?
every Thursday.
අනේ වගේ කියනවා. ඒක රහක් එන්න ඕනේ. මම ඒක රහක් ගන්න විදිය ක්‍රමයක්. දැන් මේ සූත්‍ර කියව එකතු වෙලා කරාම ඕක රහක් එන්නේ නැහැ. ඕක මේක මහා ඩ්‍රේරි මේකක් වගේ වෙනවා. මේක මිස්ටිකල් මේක අවදි වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒකට මම කියන්නේ පොඩ්ඩක් කර්මික සූත්‍රේවා කියලා බුදුන් වහන්සේ මේවා ටිකක් තියලා එහෙම වැඩ පිළිවෙලක් මම කියනවා. එතකොට යම් මගේ වෙන අදිෂ්ඨානයකුත් එතනට එනවා. මිනිස්සුන්ගේ වෙන ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවත් ගැලවෙන්න ඒක තන හාමුදුර නැතත් ඒක වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒක ඒවා අවදි කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ඒකත් එක්ක මෙයාට මේකයි ඒ සුවයයි මේ ගැලවෙ මේ දේශනාවලට යන එකයි දෙකම. මේක එහෙම බලන්න හැමෝටම අමාරුයි. බලවත් ඒක අමාරුයි කරොත් වැඩි එකක් නේද? කරන්න බෑනේ. මේක රසවත් කරන්න තේරෙන්න පිළිවෙන්නත් වෙනවා. මොකක් හරි ඒකට දාන්න ඕනේ නැත්te කියනවනම් මේ ගුණත් එක්ක ඒක වඩන එක ඒකට බලයක් වෙනවා තියෙන අනවශ්‍ය අපි හිර කරලා යන එක ඉවත් කරලා දාන්න. ඒකත් එක්ක මේ ප්‍රඥාව අවදි කරන වැඩ පිළිවෙල ප්‍රායෝගිකව මේ ගොඩාක් කියවන එකක් නෙමෙයි කීපයක් අරගෙන මනස මම දන්නවා කීප දෙනෙක් අල්ලගත්ත ඒක ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ මේක අල්ලගෙන තියෙන හොඳට. මම ඒගොල්ලන් ඈතිනුත් දැක්ක සක්මන් කරනවා මේ රිට්‍රීට් වෙලාවේ. පස්සේ ඇවිල්ලා කියනකොට එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එක පොත තියාගෙන. අන්න ඕක තමයි ක්‍රමෙ පොත අතේ තියාගෙන. මේ ඊට පස්සේ මට කිව්වම තමයි අන්න ඒගොල්ලන් අර ඒක දහම දැන් මේක වටහන්න ඕන විදිහට අර දහම් පින්තූරයක් හදාගන්න පුරුදු වෙලා. දැන් ඒගොල්ලන්ට කිව්වනම් මේක කරන්න ඇත්තටම ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඒක ට්‍රාන්ස්මිට් කරන්න පුළුවන් ඒක ඒ යෝනිසෝමනසිකාරය ප්‍රධාන කී එක. ඒක ප්‍රධාන කී එක. දැන් ඔය කරපු කට්ටිය නම් මේ විදිහට කරයි. කරපු නැති කට්ටිය පළවෙනි පාර කරපු විදිහට දැන් පුළුවන් නිවන් දකින්න විදිහට මේක බාධා කරන්න. එතකොට ඔය කියන සෝවාන් වෙන එකක් වෙනවා. කවදාද බුදු වෙනවා නම් ඒකට පාරමී පිළිනවා. මම කියන්නේ බුදු වෙන්නත් සෝවාන් වෙන්නත් රහත් වෙන්නත් මේක තමයි කරන්න ඕනේ. මම විශාල කුසලයක් අවදි කරනවා අපි නම් දාන්න නැතුව අපි මේක කරමු. Anybody else who don't see clearly, like this five skandhas? Just it doesn't matter if you don't like have an idea. Even like if I'm now talking, you can now immediately think this is what this experience I'm going through, hearing birthday, this body feeling, perception, like that. Can you think? Okay. No? Oh yes. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I find that when I do this practice, I mix all of it together. Like if someone is shouting, say you have a visualization of heat, and then you go through the elements, then you go through the aggregates, then you also not you and then I think about dependent origination, and it goes through the consciousness, their consciousness, then it goes to my consciousness, but then there's the body, then there's the feeling of displeasure, but then I realize with dependent origination, I'm always away from the body, but in the mind. And then I go back to being in the body, because then I go to aggregates. So I'm mixing everything from sense basis to aggregates,
Okay.
to dependent origination, to the elements, in the practice itself.
Okay, very good. It's like a panya fruit salad.
Is that?
No, this is okay. What you must check is, by doing that, can you take the experience of someone shouting objectively or subjectively?
Well, I take it personally, I would, yes. Then there's a feeling of displeasure. Yes.
No, it should become whatever the way you are looking, it should make you to see the experience objectively. Okay, so that you will have a neutral feeling from that, not any reaction of being attracted or not repelled or no judgment. Like that you get dissociated. This should happen. So you can even take one thing that can apply, and you can hold that control over your mind reacting. Okay, that's the most practical importance, that you now, even if you're tasting something, that you don't taste because you're thinking of the Dhamma at some point. That's the purpose, so that the craving won't arise and the Paticampada won't work for you. Okay, so that's very important to hold to one thing, or even just to get something which is very clear to you and apply it. That's very important to start off, because this is going to be a practical thing for your normal life, for you to actually deal with situations and see it from the Dhamma point of view, and your ability to see it when it's happening. So before it happens, you have to have some training beforehand, okay, by getting that perception, establishing you. And when it happens, then you can, it will come out, and then you find suddenly, oh, I am not reacting because I'm not seeing it in that, you could say, with delusion.
So also we can incorporate the Brahma Viharas like equanimity and compassion, so we don't react. So I can do a mix.
Yeah, that is a samadhi. If you get into like level of samadhi, enough samadhi, and if it's pervading you, it can happen. I told you, like, I don't know, as I told here, that the reason we get angry or irritated or whatever mostly is because of our desires. It's not, the compassion is not the real solution for our anger or worry or irritation. It is to reduce our desires. And the reason for having desires is to have delusion or ignorance. So removing delusion, ignorance is the main root, removing the main root for all of this. That's what we are doing now. We are getting Dhamma perceptions, which will reduce, these things will be less and less. You should not worry because the mind changes, mind is plasticity. So when you are doing this, even one retreat, something is going to change in you. Especially these words, this some simple clarity or understanding also will definitely change because it's against opposite greed, hate, delusion. Buddha is opposite of that. All these words are coming opposite. If you get a full experience, your mind will be, even at least that moment, free from all these three. That is Nibbana. But at least you are now working towards it. It means that something is going to change in your perception as well as your chemistry in the body, which is against, opposite to this other anger, greed, hate. And we have created energies also with that. Now when we are doing this, we will be creating other energies in the other way. Initially it's difficult, but after some time you will get more strength to do this. It's clear something?
Well, I don't want to bore people because they have questions, but maybe later if there's time, I'd like to ask you about samadhi versus excess concentration.
You can also add to your practice some chanting. Chanting is some reciting of some sutras, morning and evening, 1 or 2 sutras, and also like Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya, have you heard? Like 100 Namo Buddhaya. Okay? It's a very old one, old way of distilling the some Buddha. This in the morning, if you can do 108 times, is good, and in the evening, this also will help you on the way. Start this, yes?
Yeah, it's a question. I believe I may have a wrong view. I hope Bhante will help me to be more clear and correct my understanding. Because as I was reading the sutta, a lot of time it's stressing the importance of abandoning any delight in all the 5 sense experience, etc.
Not the 5 sense, like 5 skandhas. It's like it's more inclusive. The 5 skandha means it is even 5. It is like what all beings are having 5 skandhas. So we have 5 skandhas, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, the desire or that's what Paul is telling, yes.
Yes, and then stressing about not to have pleasure or delight, and again, part of my mind, maybe it's coming from the tanha part. it's wondering, can we have the understanding, for example, all the experiences are impermanent, So from that understanding, not to cling to things, but still enjoy when the experience happens. Or once you have any delight, then you are caught in there. So again, maybe this is just that incorrect idea, that view. I wanted to make sure, because
you seem to have the answer. I don't have to tell.
but I think it's tempting to still hoping that maybe if I just learn to accept that things are not impermanent, and then I can still enjoy some positive experience in the moment rather than really repulsed from the positive experience.
It should come naturally. Don't try to force yourself not to enjoy or anything. Okay? And also, like you learn to see the Dhamma, you also get some joy, and when you the opposite of getting from enjoyment is peace. It's like if you don't enjoy these sense pleasures, you find you must experience the others that which you're given up. You should not be just like in a vacuum. You will experience peace. Something more higher than this. And the brain will get used to a subtle pleasure. It's also pleasure. So Buddha says that this other pleasure harms your wisdom. This pleasure helps your. So it has a very high, blissfulness can come more in this. It's like a small representative of the senses also. But very gross and very, this thing. But so if you turn it, that's why I say there's a happiness without a reason. That happiness you learn to shift to. Then you see this has suffering automatically. You don't have to read a book to think about it. Like when you are not done meditation, you feel suffering. If you are really proper, that's why I said get the meditation, not because Bhante is telling somebody. You get that taste, you get that heroin. You get that injection in you. You will be addicted. That must be happening. That's why they are not getting it properly. People are. So I don't want to push anyone. You get this. And then that feeling you learn to, as a human being, we should. Otherwise, without stress, without this thing, when you're driving, doing your things, it's very nice, it's blissful. It's like, like mentally you're happy, you're in another world. And if you die like that also, you'll be going not to, you'll be going higher. So, but with sensual desires, it's like you can see a person, is just there, and it's addictive as well as, it drains you out. And more the pressure, more the suffering, more the hangover, right? So this, you have to see, you have to think about this happening, and then compare it. And then slowly, not that now I also tell about sexual activity. Those days I talk about no fap. It's very important. Even we also had to struggle with it as young people. Masturbation, I don't know, no one talks about it normally, but I think it should be this thing. So even this is not dealt long period. So with that it comes stimulation in different ways. These Western countries, in this part of the world, there are groups who are practicing this. Disciplining, controlling this for 1 month, 2 months. It's called under NoFap, NoFAPP. I think these are very important. And then, because that's a very tremendous animal pressure. Animal, the thing that people don't understand, realize it. It increases your blood sugar rise up like in now, diabetes, okay? Same way this high rise up in your tanha. So your body is like looking human, but it is raising conscious to a very reptilian, animal-like experience. So this Buddha has given it as a grave offense. Buddha rules because it really damages your spiritual progress like nothing. So that means progress towards peacefulness and that having being a normal human being, and so you use your personality also. A lot of people today, you look at them, I don't want to tell, but it's like, no personality, no masculinity. Even they look like, so it's like, it's very sad. So this will come only by discipline, only by, control. So This is very important. I think when you get a chance, you must go through them, and definitely it has to be put into your life. Not you have to be a monk or somebody, but as a person who wants to first be a good human being and open up potentials towards, enlightenment and spiritual progress. These have to be done. So thinking, I forgot the point I was going to tell you all. Maybe Mara is fucking me. To share this point.
But then you were talking about the peace that will experiencing the peace will offset, will reduce the desire.
Yeah, that's right. You replace it slowly. You slowly replace it. But these grosser ones, you have to make sure that it is, becomes habitual, and it brings certain forces around you also. So they are also supporting this addiction, like drugs and all the other things. So this, you have to break it like three days, 1 week, 1 month, like that. And what even gives the smallest trigger, you must learn to control. That's already self-control. So like that, and see the damage, and you make a willpower, no, I'm not going to. That knowledge within you will make you to control it more easily. And it should become natural. Slowly you will, as I told you, slowly you are experiencing more peacefulness. So if you dip into that other lower level of this thing, you will see the difference. It will take some days to little bit recover again. You think like this sometimes. Okay? So, but later on, that's why I said you go to a place where you don't break at all. You learn to keep it, hold it for longer period. Then you create a force, and then other obstacles will also come, because Mara will be following you. Because no one wants you to, get going upward. But definitely when you've tasted it and gone that way, you know that this is like a really a bit. And so that's very important. And then otherwise, some people happen that they don't want to go on the path, they're that much damage. Another thing, this can lead to even great crime. If you have that potential of karma from previous life, serial killers, that if you look at their last testimony before they are hanged or whatever, they say, I was addicted to this, I was addicted to that. And no one taught me, I had mental sickness. Normally society is all having, but luckily they have some good karma not to make them serial killers. But you must think like that. You see the range, it's not a small thing. It's no divinity in that, no spirituality in that. That's why I also stress, that you can't have some kind of bondage and spirituality both together. Impossible. It's a clear-cut desirelessness, dispassion, that's purity, and this thing comes. But as we are not at once, this will be like going both ways. Mustn't worry. As long as you're continuing to build up that and getting more taste in that, you may fall back again, but you're trying. Now I had some experience of this similar nature. I was a little wondering now, long years I'm practicing, it's coming up again. Then only I met one teacher, he told me, no, Venerable, like when you're practicing, definitely obstacles will come. This happens to every practitioner. Normally, failure, but how you fail is that you after you get an obstacle, you fall down so much. Then you give up the practice and go into Mara himself. But very few just continue. When they continue, it will come up again, but because of the continuation. Definitely. So he told me like, your Bhante, Venerable, he's very senior Bhante. He told me, you are like, flowing river. Don't worry. Because when the river is flowing, if you put something into the dirt or whatever, after 10 meters, it's clean again. So it's a good point he gave. He gave me a lot of encouragement that time. And it's true, I think. It's very true. Long years, if some obstacle came and I stopped the practice, will I come to this? Now you continue. Just now I know this very well. Just continue. Maybe try to increase more. Counteract any mistake you do. And by failure, you become a super master. Okay. Okay. I hope this will encourage everybody. These are my personal experience. I'm not a super master, but of course I didn't come like smooth. I had a lot of struggles also, physical and mental as well. So it will go naturally, but then you see when you get insights of this, it will be more powerful. You see how it will be very potent. You find that even a little bit of that will be like burning your karma like nothing, burning your defilements like nothing. Very difficult to get. But samadhi also will have a good effect. That means you're a little free, at least temporary, from those feelings, and then you're having a very pure state for a very short while. And observing the sila also will be second, little lesser than that, but it's also very important. But mentally you're still deciding this and that. So, but if you allow it, if you're gone, you're allowing. Now I remember what I want to tell was, when you allow like this, if you allow it to go to a physical level, that's very dangerous. It will stagnate you. Like if you, certain defilement, you have it in mind and this thing, certain situation, you allow it to go to a physical level. That's why the rules are there to protect you by the Buddha. That gets recorded. So that recorded, then the universe or the nature, karmic law, the nature waits until you recover or you become well, you can pass this exam. So sometimes you find you're not progressing. Okay? And the reason is the karma at that level has happened, physical level, and then you have to wait, you have to clear yourself, you have to change yourself. That's why it's very dangerous. I think some people, I tell this for the programs also. You may have it in the mind, you may have it, but of course, even if you keep like that, it's like you're always keeping a bomb. Time bomb, thinking anytime it can explode to a physical action. Better you go on a spiritual path and clear your mind, then the chances will be very less. But if you allow desires to be only in the mind also, anytime it can also go to a level of expressing itself in a physical way. And if it happens, then your life gets. Now I find a lot of good practitioners means they are trying to do this. They come to me and they have some problems, like suddenly some connections come and they feel they get distracted, and so it's no problem, but it will take some more time for them if they continue on the spiritual path, and their results, their potential would be so much down just for that few minutes or few seconds or 1 hour or whatever small thing. So I'm telling like this, this will be helpful. Anyone have this? They will know the gravity of this. Otherwise, someone might justify, in this part of the world it's more important, I think. You might justify that after this I will do more practice. It won't happen like that. You might think I'm going to do more practice to counteract this and that, and then now this moment I will, it will take you down. And if it has happened, you must not worry too. because I feel who are still practicing and going on, sure. But the nature is waiting until they recover, but they will achieve something very much later, something great. They keep on going. They know that also get clear. But before, always must be careful, not to allow it a physical. It becomes a strong recorded karma, and that it will wait. If you wait until you, I have my one personal experience that our yogis see that internally what you have done, what has happened to you, a record of your actions, because they have access to each soul's, each person's, could say data, karmic data, which is very apparent. So in their flashlight, they will see this happen, and then how your body. Now, as they don't see bodies, they see that now also some karma is going on in all of us. Okay, this is a good one actually. Where what is this? It's a very special one, of course. It is the thing, but still there are other karmas that are going to have to work out, and maybe this will help to even clear those things. But ourselves being disciplined is very important. So internet, it opens up one to so much type of stimulations, so dangerous, and that can lead to something physical as well. And you might invite energies. Those energies come and they will control you. You don't know you killed somebody. You don't know you did something. You cannot imagine you did it because somebody else was inside you. So this is for everybody to be careful how you deal with it. Protect. Now you have come, especially who have come like this, you are planting a special seed. So protect it. And take it, and then it will grow definitely. I know. You'll have something up and down, but definitely something has started in your systems.
I think as a quick question, you mentioned about sense control and sense restraint. Could you clarify a little or explain a little bit more about that and how to practice that?
Like it's called also, for example, with your eyes, for example, right? I am fully seeing your details, but I look like this. Do you see my eyes? Can you see my eyeballs?
Actually, I only have my reading glasses right now,
You don't see the far.
so I cannot see very clearly. Yeah.
So if somebody sees me like this, I look unfocused. Now I look focused. I'm seeing your details.
Okay.
So you should be unfocused. Especially in a busy area, it's just an idea. Unfocused means you're not allowing impression and then the contact properly and then the feeling to come whatever you may do. That is a very important practice to practice. The highest sila. It's called Indriya Sarva Sila, control of the sense organs. Actually, it said monks practice this. It's called infinite number of sila they practice by practicing this. That's why they look little frisbee thing, and then when they're going on ashram, they keep mindfulness so that that practice is done automatically. So they don't have monkey mind. Very easily they come to samadhi. But now if you're going for the forward and looking so many things, so you can just imagine how much it is broken. The impression, that impression, this impression. And mostly these impressions are with greed or anger like this. All the entertainment is based on that. Fantasy, illusion. So you might take that entertainment just a little bit relaxing, but you're just taking some whiskey from the screen. Screen whiskey, I call it. 1 hour, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour time passing, all wasted.
So is it to sort of reduce the contact almost, reduce the
sense.
the contact.
So you slowly shift your experience to getting that divine impression, like peace. And with that, it will also not be permanent, then reading a bit, that's all. So if you do these exercises very daily, that's good enough. And then you must check in your working place, other places, the mistakes you do. It could be in, physically like lying or stealing, especially you have to do like lying for your stealing, I hope not, never. But lying even because of fear or something, there you must check how to not to do next time. You have to monitor your, where you're making the karma. So you tell the truth also. You must try be truthful. Not necessarily you have to tell the truth. You can be truthful, honest. That's very important to check yourself what is happening. That's the very base for all growth. So, and being kind also when you have to deal something. You make sure something is done, but not using that animal force. Using kindness, firmness together. Make sure it's done, but with kindness. Try it, and that in this modern time, that will be super good enough, I think. That can be done. And daily morning practice and trying to do walk when you're going from here to there very peacefully. You do this thing, reminding yourself again and again. And slowly reduce your work, thinking, I want to practice this more. So losing my ambitions too much, listen to your ambitions. And slowly shifting your values, that's very important. Better sweeping job even, and then you can meditate more. Like this, it's not easy, but my teacher, and then he did like that. He was working in an not audit firm, he was a director of a company in the beginning time. And then, of course, he was in the intern camp. But before that, then after the war, Second World War, they were sent back to Germany by force, or destroyed. So he got a job as an English teacher. He teach all these people. And then he was telling me, because all girls, because all have died, mostly in the war. So he made sure no contact, no relationship. Just he did get the money for his food. And then he had a landlady who gave her lodging. Those days very difficult for someone to. So then what happened was he went first to the farming place. Before that, immediately after that. So there, the village area where he was born, whole day work, no time for meditation. Then he realized in the Dhammapada one verse, 1 day is better than 1,000 days of not meditating. It struck him so much. He said, no, I can't do like this, like a bull or something. Then he came to the city. There, suddenly, because of his good intention, I think, he got this job, more time and, more money also, teaching English. And like that, then he was thinking how to collect money to come to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka. I don't have to. But other sponsors, he met, he became a translator of one special, there's like a group of monks and sponsor who came to Hamburg. He was the translator. So then they arranged for him to be taken to Sri Lanka, be ordained and come back for teaching Dhamma, for Dhamma missionary. So that's how he got the passageway. It was so difficult to, he was earning that money to come to Sri Lanka. When they came, he became a monk. He was a real practitioner also by that time, I'm sure. And this was the agreement. But then, when Modi there, the English monk in Island Hermitage, they were like good friends of Bante. And another came, that was some other senior monk. They have asked, you have come to really practice this and realize this, or to go back and like this teach and all that and mix the bit. But he decided, no, I'm going to practice. And then they sent other monks like Somahandro, not the famous Somahandro recently, but another very powerful, very good meditator from Colombo, Chetty, I think, Somadera. Vajrarama and Island Hermitage. So they set him and came in the house. They were very, very scholarly monks. Vajrarama that time. There's a golden period of Vajrarama. It went away. But that time they were very good. They were very scholarly as well as practitioners also, especially. So they went on a mission of continued staying. And later on, then in the 1970s, people got to know him. So wondering, like they thought he had attained something because he was going a certain way, whole time, life, inspiring to people who want to know here and there. And it went like this. And there's some very hilarious times, like, like when the Berlin Vihara, when the senior monk or something, there's no person to run the vihara. So one of the sponsors or somebody, now Bante was very old and he was in the team, Vajrarama. So I saw that gentleman. He was coming and telling the Berlin Vihara, nobody's there. I was a young boy, and he was telling somebody else. I think Jnanimala Bante is the only German monk. We'll go and went and we take him there and we can look after the place. I was thinking, it won't be easy to take him out here. They think like he will be like a monk who can just be taken. And it was very funny, and of course they went and talked to him. We already were so much, away from all these happenings of places, monasteries. It was very interesting. But he did go when they asked him to go. He was older, to Polvastu Island Hermitage. Because I think this Rakita, he convinced him that those monks need to see an example and that they are this thing. So that's how he made him go. But it helped me then. I was able to stay with him and in solitude. Okay, something about Bhante also it went on. So 154. Is it hot for all of you or cold? Normal, huh? Right? Me? No, it's okay, it's right warm. No, I think it's okay. It's okay like with your. I'm just checking my body. Is something changing or not? No, it's okay. We start this. ධම්ම කියන වචනේ එක එකට පාවිච්චි කරලා ගොඩක් ඒවා කියනවා. හැබැයි ඔය කියනෝනේ ධර්මතාවයක් හැටියට ධර්මතාවය කියනකොට දැන් සබ්බේ ධම්ම අනාත්තාති කියලා කියනවා. එතකොට නිවනත් අයිති වෙනවා කියනෝනේ ධර්මතාවයක් කියන. එහෙම බලනකොට නිවනත් ඒකේ ආත්මයක් නැහැ කියන එක අනාත්ත කියලා. This shall we start? Okay. Read. Single එකද 157 සලායතන සමීප 154 සලායතන 152 Single 152 single. Yeah. Thus have I heard on one occasion the Blessed One was dwelling at Sarvasti in Jetaguru. Another Pindika part, there the Blessed One addressed the bhikkhus thus, bhikkhus. Venerable Sir, those bhikkhus replied, the Blessed One said this. 154. Okay. Because the I is impermanent. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering is non-self. Now when you read these things, it's very nice, you have to calm yourself, stay in the present moment, vartamane hita ganna one. Ita passe me I kiyala kiwama the I, when Buddha says I, you have to just visualize your own I. Okay? Just not that you are going to see exactly how it is. It's just you have I here, right? You're going to apply this to that I. Alright? That's how it becomes the meditation object. Is it clear? This is how you're going to do it in the future. Because the I is impermanent. So you have to imagine. Do you think this I will last forever? What is impermanent? What is impermanent is suffering. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering is not self. What is not self should be seen as it really is with correct wisdom. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. If you're really properly doing it as a meditation, you have to stop and really go back and visualize it, look into it, okay? But this what we are going to read, this whole section, you will have to read certain section or number of sutras you will have to read tomorrow only. And day after tomorrow also you have. Just the morning. But tomorrow you have to finish. And tonight you will have to start this actually. Tonight you will have to start this. Okay, something you must start because there's no time. Just reading, if you don't understand also, that's very important, you should do that. Then tomorrow, end of the day, it will be 4th day, right? 4th day, then I told you to give me 4 days. Okay? I told you to give me 4 days, but you will have to have already followed what I said. Without following what I said and expecting something 4 days is impossible. That is your fault also then. Okay. Because I is impermanent. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering is non-self. What is not. So when you are applying to you also, if you are relaxed and waiting, you would feel more relaxed after doing that. Because unconsciously you are holding your eye, definitely. But if you apply it and look like that, visualized it, that letting go will happen in your mind. And you will feel more light. Then only you have correctly done it. Correct exercise you have done. Because this helps you to let go. It's very practical, this thing. It makes you more let go. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. The ear is impermanent, the nose is impermanent, the tongue is impermanent, the body is impermanent, the mind is impermanent. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering is non-self. What is non-self should be seen as it really is with correct wisdom thus. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Seeing thus because the instructed noble disciple experienced revulsion towards the eye, revulsion towards the ear, revulsion towards the nose, revulsion towards the tongue, revulsion towards the body, revulsion towards the mind. Experiencing revulsion, he becomes dispassion. Through dispassion, his mind is liberated. This also you must picture, imagine. Okay? How your attachment is leaving from your eyes, ears, nose, tongue. You must imagine this. Like from your eyes, ears, nose, that your desires, your attachment is going away. Alright? It's like becoming a dead body. Right? These are very good. If you do really like that, you're letting go. You're in the idea of letting go. Towards the nose, revulsion towards the tongue, revulsion towards the body, revulsion towards the mind. Experiences revulsion, he becomes dispassion. Through dispassion, his mind is liberated. Now when you really get, just imagine if you get fully dispassionate like that. You are free from the 6 sense organs and its experiences, all consciousness and everything. So where do you see impermanence? Impermanent things happening, from where do you experience? From the eyes, from the ears, from the nose, from the tongue, from the body and from the mind. Your meditation. So when you are desirous and dispassionate, you are leaving everything which is impermanent. And you'll be left with what? What is what? When you leave everything what is impermanent, you'll be left with what is impermanent? Permanent. Right? You are leaving everything what is, in your mind you are leaving everything what is impermanent, then you are left with what is Nibbana. That's the only time you will be actually, oh, this is it.
Permanent.
Nibbana will be an object for you. So, all these sutras are leading to that. That's actually, these sutras made arahants. These sutras were told to monks who were about to become arahant. And when they got this, they saw it in very fast way than us. But at least they're getting used to that thinking. In the next page, 155, the external is impermanent. Bhikkhu, forms are impermanent. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering is non-self. What is non-self should be seen as it really is with correct wisdom that this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Sounds, orders, taste, tactile objects, mental phenomena are impermanent. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering is not self. What is not self should be seen as it really is. In correct wisdom that this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Seeing thus because the instructed noble disciple experiences revulsion towards form, revulsion towards sounds, revulsion towards orders, revulsion towards taste, revulsion towards tactile objects, revulsion towards phenomena. Experiencing revulsion, he becomes dispassion. His mind is liberated. (157). The internal as impermanent 3 times. Kale උත්තර පෙර කියලා තියෙන එක උඩ තියෙන සූත්‍ර. බෝධියට උඩ 157. අපි අනිත් එක එයා නේද කියන්නේ page එක. අද හොඳට උදේ සමාධිය හිටිය නේද මේක? අද කොහොමද must all of them in the morning very good. Kind of the samadhi seems to be familiar to everybody. But only in the morning, not other times you see you can't finish. ඒකට උඩ තමයි තියෙනවා මේ. So 157, because I is impermanent, both of the past and the future, not to speak of the present. Very similar to one we did in the other book also. Okay. So you have to go back to the I. Maybe the I, you must just picture whatever I you have a few minutes ago, or 2 days ago, 1 month ago. That I, what happened? It had changed. It had died and new cells have formed. You look like that even. It's an entire new I. Even each of our organs, it is known that like a liver, it takes 1 week for an entire new liver. Who does medical medicine? Have you don't know, like each organ is like almost new.
Yeah, every 7 days. Actually, I designed like a medical device related with the eye. So I know like there's a lot of components in the eye. And like for example, the eye lens, you can take it out. Like if someone have a cataract, you can take the lens out and place the artificial lens inside.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's some you can fall apart. And you can laser it back, and attach back. And also on the top of this cornea, this outside part, we can use laser to laser out some part of it to make someone that's nearsighted like recover because some part of the eye is removed.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know how to meddle with the organ.
Yeah.
Then make it better to see.
Yeah.
But the problem is they are not going to look at the sutras, they are going to see other things with them.
Yeah.
It's not good, it's good karma to support, sight is a very big thing. Well, it takes about 1 week, for an entire organ
Yeah,
to
that's what I heard. I'm not really in that part of research, but I heard like all the cells die in 7 days. That's what I heard online too. I didn't really.
So the impermanence, if you know about that also, it's very, very much definitely happens that you don't have the same I after some time. It has changed, but we are identifying it as, like our own single I all the time. It's like me, I am the I. So this illusion is broken when we have this awareness, reflection. So now when you say the bhikkhu, the I is impermanent, both of the past and the future. So you must go back to the past, okay? Mentally, think, okay, it has definitely changed. And in the future, if I get an I, I'm sure it definitely same thing going to happen. Like that, you must, make that exercise. Not to speak of the present. Then when future is also definitely it's going to change. What to say about now this experience? So this is one way of looking. Buddha makes you to exercise to get the impermanent idea of the present moment. Okay? So, seeing thus bhikkhus, the instructed noble disciple is indifferent toward the eye of the past. So when he looks like that and contemplates, he will feel detached from the eye of the past. That means any memory, anything he saw or heard, he will not learn to delight in it. He does not seek delight in the eye of the future. If you have properly contemplated a lot about it, he is not going to wish for something in the future. He has already seen the rising and passing away of something that he might experience. And he is practicing for the revulsion toward the eye of the present, for this fading away and cessation. So right now he won't be attached to what he's seeing. Okay, for this purpose, if you really do it, you can actually experience that way even right now. The ear is impermanent, the nose is impermanent, tongue is impermanent, the body is impermanent, the mind is impermanent, both of the past and the future, not to speak of the present. Seeing thus bhikkhus, the instructed noble disciple is indifferent towards the mind of the past, for its fading away and cessation. So external objects also, it is told, it is in short, before my enlightenment, yeah, look at this, it's not very, (160) page, Rising of Suffering. दुख समुदय කියලා වගේ ඉතින් මම දන්නවා. සිංහලේ. Rising of Suffering. 160. සිංහලේ Rising of suffering. Because the arising, continuation, production and manifestation of the eye is the rising of suffering. The continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. The rising of ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind is the rising of suffering. The continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. The cessation, subsiding and passing away of eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind is the cessation of suffering. The subsiding of diseases, the passing away of aging and death. So like yesterday, the same one, this is a way of looking, like you can think like from Nibbana. You are like in an empty, completely empty this thing, and then when these things arise, only in the body, only in the eyes you get problems. Ear, nose, tongue, suffering, diseases, aging is happening only in these parts. So if these things don't arise, there won't be sickness, there won't be aging. Okay? There won't be death also. Death is happening to these organs. Alright? So it's like looking from Nibbana actually. For your contemplation, you have to learn to see like that. Okay? Buddha is trying to give you an entire different thinking. Which will, so that's why we are getting used to how enlightened beings have to think. We also can get enlightened. That's the purpose. It's not that we can.
Sorry, could you clarify the earlier phase again? What is suffering is not self. That could you clarify the meaning of that?
Which one? The earlier one?
Just 554, I'm sorry. Earlier, it's on my mind sometimes when I read that.
Okay.
not entirely clear.
Which page is
154.
154.
Yeah. So, what is suffering is not self. I mean, when because the eyes is impermanent suffering. What is suffering is not self.
Yeah. So it's like what is impermanent, what is suffering. It shows something beyond our control. Do you want something to be impermanent? Do we? Of course, suffering we want it to be permanent, but happiness, do we want it to be impermanent? No. But beyond our wish, it happens. So is it in our control or not? So when you, any experience in this universe, in this world, because it's definitely going to end, will it be unsatisfactory or satisfactory?
Unsatisfactory.
Leave all the doctrines and teachings aside what you have heard. Just think of it. It is bound to change. All experience will be sadness and so on. How much you attach to it or enjoy it become give more sadness. Okay? So this is a deep, slow thinking of life and the world phenomenon. That's why I said this is actually to be done 3, 4, 5 days, maybe 1 month, fully rested out of. Maybe if you went to prison, you can meditate easily. Do some robbery and go. Take the books you asked that. This is my punishment. I want to read the books. Alright? Yes, because taking all this away, then you slowly start to think about life in a more deep way. Hopefully, no one gives you something to entertain there. Your creative mind might work very much, or realization. So, something is impermanent and suffering. So you can know these are the qualities you have with every experience in this world is impermanent and suffering, beyond your control. If it's in your control, it will be permanent and happiness. Alright? So, if it is in your control. So it's not in your control. So what is not in your control? Can you call it something you? Call it it's yours. Like for example, these trousers you're wearing, are you married? If you have to ask your wife when to wear these trousers or how to wear which trouser you are, so this trouser belongs to whom? Your wife or you? You are wearing the trouser, but you have to ask permission from your wife, to wear it. Okay? So, who has control over something that knows the ownership of that person? Okay. If you don't have the ownership of something, can you call it that it belongs to you? This is owned by nature only. The body is, the ownership of this body is nature. Nature's laws. But we have misunderstood and thinking it is ours. So now we are becoming enlightened and awakened to that. Understand? So that's why it follows. It follows by these two. What is impermanent suffering? Because it's impermanent and suffering is not you. It's not mine. It's not time. Where did I tell? 160? 160.
Suffering.
161.
That's 160.
That we read already. We gone through that. 161. Abandonment. And what bhikkhu is the Dhamma for abandoning all. The I is to be abandoned, forms are to be abandoned, I consciousness is to be abandoned. eye contact is to be abandoned. Whatever feeling arises with eye contact as condition, whether pleasant or painful or neither painful nor pleasant, that thought is to be abandoned. It is to be abandoned. The mind is to be abandoned. Mental phenomena is to be abandoned. Mind objects are to be. Now let us cut short. Shorten the thing. But you know that Buddha is talking about the 6 sense organs. Okay. So just make sure that you though it is written short form, you must make sure you must apply to each organ and like that little bit thing. But now tomorrow will be the last test, so you'll have to just read faster. Okay. Doesn't matter if you. Some 1 or 2 you can contemplate and you have to do. Okay. The mind is to be abandoned, mental phenomena is to be abandoned, mind consciousness is to be abandoned, mind contact is to be abandoned, and whatever feeling arises with mind contact as condition, whether pleasant or painful or neither painful nor pleasant, that too is to be abandoned. This bhikkhu is the dharma for abandoning all. According to the Buddha and the Aryans, the whole universe is nothing but the 6 sense organs. Whole existence, whole being with consciousness. So when you understand that, you understand the whole world, universe, whatever you call it. .168. Subject to birth. That's the main topic. Then underneath. Or how you are getting the reference? You are getting it. Oh. Sorry? It has, every book has, Okay. So one person has to because. 168 in this book, English. 170 in the Sinhalese. 168. Subject to birth. At Savasti bhikkhus, all is subject to birth. And what bhikkhu is that is subject to birth? What about the Chinese translation? Are you using English and Chinese both? Both, huh? Okay. But is there a big difference or quite same? What do you think? Huh? Same, huh?
Same.
Very same, okay. Okay, very good. Bhikkhus, all is subject to birth. And what bhikkhu is that all that is subject to birth? I is subject to birth, forms, I consciousness, I contact, whatever feeling arises with I contact as condition, that too is subject to birth. The ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind, whatever feeling arises with, you get a mental picture. You get a mental slowly picture, your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. Like this now you learn to, it's a thinking picture. That has to happen, then only in your walking meditation you have that thinking picture more maturely, properly formed. Then, that will give you what, analyze whatever, and that vision will also come in that higher way. The ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind, whatever feeling arises with mind contact as condition, that too is subject to birth. Seeing thus bhikkhus, the instructed noble, bhikkhus, all is subject to birth. And what bhikkhu is the all that is subject to birth? The I is subject to birth. Now this is also very important to look at like this. Forms, eye consciousness, eye contact, whatever feeling arises with eye contact, that too is subject to birth. So that means, if you don't have an eye at all, you don't have eye consciousness, eye contact, and this consciousness, then feeling, perception, all these things. Birth, the phenomena birth is never happening. Okay? So that also you can think in terms of like in Nibbana or empty space, and this, when this arises, then only this thing called birth is taking place. The name given to that is birth. from an interval of some previous life, somewhere in some person's womb or some form of way of. I think when this body feeling tried to manifest like a magic, from that moment the birth name is given. Okay, it looks like a magic because seen thus bhikkhus, the instructed noble disciple experience revulsion towards I, towards forms, towards I consciousness, towards I contact. There is no more for this state of being. For bhikkhus, all is subject to aging, all is subject to sickness. So they apply to all of these phenomena. Okay, they all happen to those things only. All is subject to aging. Aging is only happen to a body and consciousness. Okay. And to sickness also where it's a body and in the consciousness. So all negative things are told, not good things, painful things. In a way, birth also is mostly painful. Otherwise, the baby is not crying for nothing. I had no strength, they say, so I just made small sound in a seat, car seat. All this subject, enough, I think is enough. But this is enough. $172. At Savatthi, when the Venerable Migajala approached the Blessed One, Migajala Kila Sutra. When the Migajala approached the Blessed One and paid homage to him and sat down to one side and said to him, Venerable Sir, it is said, a lone dweller, alone. Excuse me, how do you feel? This kind of thing is. Sorry? Do you feel some difference? No. Reading, like telling me about something about no, I'm okay. Do you feel better, like, or like, doing this is better, or how is it? It's better. Otherwise, normally in the crowds or some places, do you get that? No. It's challenging. Like a task. Yeah. Like universities, you get so much of that. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know he goes to Harvard. But he has a good karma in that way. So I was even forget that. Are there any other monks or Sri Lankans?
Yeah.
Monks also?
Two Sri Lankan monks. Three contributions.
In the same faculty or?
No, in different year.
Venerable Sir, it is said, a lone dweller. In what way, Venerable Sir, is one a lone dweller, and in what way is one dwelling with a partner? There are Migajala forms cognizable by the eye that are desirable, ugly, agreeable, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. If a bhikkhu seeks delights in them, welcomes them, and remains holy to them, delight arises. When there is delight, there is infatuation. When there is infatuation, there is bondage. Bound by the fetter of delight, Migajala, a bhikkhu is called one dwelling with a partner. There are Migajala sounds cognizable by the ear, odors cognizable by the nose, taste cognizable by the tongue, tactile objects cognizable by the body, mental phenomena cognizable by the mind. I was also very impressed last time when I did the program in your university, right? That university, there was that other monk. He gave an introduction. Of course, some things are really funny for me. Great monk, all these other things. Very famous monk. But his English, how he presented all that, some Sangha?
ස්ටාම්පේ හරි
අපි පිටපස්සේ ඊට පස්සේ
සුදේව ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ
සිංහල ලංකාවේ දේශාංශ.
එහෙමයි දෙනියයි.
හොඳට ඒ කියන්නේ I was very impressed at his vocabulary, how he expressed himself in
අවුරුදු 9 මහල වෙලා.
හරි. ඒක හොඳට educated වෙලා තියෙනවා නේ.
University of West එකෙන් undergraduate.
බොහොම හොඳයි බලන්න vocabulary හරියට ඒ ඔක්කොම මේ හොඳට මේ present කරන ඔක්කොම එයා දාලා හරි හොඳයි. I was very impressed. Not the part that he, I don't know, everybody's like pumping me, Monday to explode now. Right. There are Migachara sounds cognized by the ear, orders cognized by the nose, taste cognized by the tongue, tactile objects cognized by the body, mental phenomena cognized by the mind that are desirable, lovely, agreeable, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. If a bhikkhu seeks delights in them, he is called one who dwells with a partner. Vigajar, even though a bhikkhu who dwells thus resort to forests and grows to remote lodgings, where there are few sounds and little noise, desolate, hidden from people, appropriate for seclusion, he is called one who dwells with a partner. Okay, I have experienced some things like this. Once I was climbing one mountain in the Himalayas. Okay, later on. Of course, when I was young, I was going some area, and so there's like a tent, there are sadhus where they have this like small with a stone and tent. If they're staying, there's a flag, okay, to show there's somebody, I think, and it's like a flag symbolizing. So I had to pass, my pathway was to pass through one of these, it's like a cave and, covered with the thing for weather. While I was nearing that, I was hearing a voice, a good English voice, American English, voice like some discussion and all that. I was wondering what's happening. So when I neared more, then suddenly I heard voice of America or something like this. It was news somewhere. Then I realized there's a radio or something inside there. I thought coming all the way to Himalayas and so solitary. So this is like this now. We're living with a partner. Okay. So sound comes, orders come by the Nikadal, even though a bhikkhu who dwells thus resort to forests and groves, to remote lodgings, where there are few sounds and little noise, desolate and hidden from people, appropriate for seclusion, he is still called one dwelling with the partner. For what reason? Because craving is his partner, and he has not abandoned it. Therefore, he is called one dwelling with the partner. There are Migachara forms cognized by the eye that are desirable, lovely, agreeable, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. If a bhikkhu does not seek delight in them, does not welcome them, and does not remain holy to them, delight ceases. When there is no delight, there is no infatuation. When there is no infatuation, there is no bondage. Released from the fetter of delight, Migachara, bhikkhu is called one alone dweller. Okay, in the end of that, the end of that sutta, Migachara, even though a bhikkhu, last paragraph, Migachara, even though a bhikkhu who dwells thus lives in the vicinity of a village, associating with bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, with male and female lay followers, with kings and royal ministers, with secretariat teachers and their disciples. So it's like, if you even like this, you stay in Manhattan or LA town, I don't know, Long Beach, I don't know, anywhere with a lot of crowd and people, with but he's still called a lone dweller. Okay? If you can be like that, you're a real lone dweller. That means if you meditate and you don't get those objects around you, you can become a lone dweller. You don't necessarily have to be in a jungle or a forest. Okay. For what reason? Because the craving is his partner and he has abandoned it. Therefore, he is called a lone dweller. The next page, 174. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajagaha in the bamboo grove, the scholar sanctuary. Then the Venerable Samadhi approached the Blessed One and said to him, Venerable Sir, it is said, Mara, Mara. In what way, Venerable Sir, might there be Mara or the description of Mara? Where there is I Samadhi, where there are forms, I consciousness, things to be cognizable by the I consciousness, there Mara exists, or the description of Mara. Where there is ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, where there are mental phenomena, mind consciousness, things to be cognizable by the mind consciousness, there Mara exists, or the description of Mara. Where there is no I Samadhi, no forms, no I consciousness, no things to be cognized by the I consciousness, there Mara does not exist, nor any description of Mara. Where there is no ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no mental phenomena, no mind consciousness, no things to be cognized by the mind consciousness, there Mara does not exist, nor any description of Mara. That's very important to see. Okay, now we are coming to a very important next one also. Immediately after that, Samadhi 2. Okay? Venerable Sir, he said, a being. In what way, Venerable Sir, might there be a being or the description of a being? So, the being, the idea of identity comes to what? The body, that means I, this part is the body. I consciousness, and eye contact and all these feelings, perceptions. For that only the description of a being comes. So can you call a robot a being? You have a chunk of this thing and okay, but mainly because there's no consciousness and that free will and deciding and sort of this thing nature, mainly life is not there. So if they create life like that, I might remove my robes. Venerable Sir, it is said, a being. In what way, Venerable Sir, might there be a being or the description of a being? That's very important, description of a being. So, Venerable Sir, it is said, suffering. In what way, Venerable Sir, might there be a suffering or the description of suffering? Other one also Swami before. Venerable Sir, it is said, the word. In what way, Venerable Sir, might there be the word or the description of the word? Where there are I, Samadhi, where there are forms, I consciousness, things to be cognizable by I consciousness, there the word exists, or the description of the word. Where there are ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, where there are mental phenomena, mind consciousness, things to be cognizable by the mind consciousness, there the word exists, or the description of the word. Where there is no I, Samadhi, no form, no I consciousness, no things to be cognized by the I consciousness, there the word does not exist, nor any description of the word. Where there is no ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, one by one you can go to your own eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No mental phenomena, no mind consciousness. That means through your samadhi, your meditation, you get an experience of peace. That is the Brahma-lok, the higher loka. That is also experienced through a sense, the mind too. So, that also you find it is the word, it's a word. So, that also you get an idea, you have what? You have a body, you have feelings, peacefulness, and perception, consciousness, all that is there. So, where is the idea of being is also there. Being, substance is there. Okay? The substance of a being is there. Nibbana is where that you go beyond that any substance, anything, the sankharas, that's why they call sankhara, and beyond sankhara, asankhata, not formed. This is all formed, this is one goes to the unformed. How do you go by a spaceship? It's by desirelessness. What makes that desirelessness happen is that wisdom. Okay. So, desirelessness opens up that state, Nibbana. And wisdom is the would say the rocket. That is the shuttle that takes you there. No mind conscious, no things. So it's funny, the whole world's secret is so near us. So, I remember another Tintin story. Remember? Tintin in the Captain Haddock. Right? Not now, long years I read this book, right? When I was a small kid. That there was some treasure map or somewhere, and it was telling some part in the. You had maybe read that something like this. That that in that treasure map, that there is this some ocean, some area. This treasure is there. So they got a ship and all these things, all the gadgets to go down into the water, and they went to some place. They searched, and maybe they found something, but nothing in there. And they finally came to where they had some bad castle, where they were staying, and then or somewhere. Yes, I can't remember exactly the details. So finally they were disappointed, and this treasure map was something maybe from the ancestors or somebody. So the map is telling the world or something, like the earth. So to see, I don't know how it got revealed in an attic behind, like a secret door in that same castle. There was like a big, huge, like the earth ball, when you turn. So something. Subject to this is Chanda. Chanda 185. Yeah, but we have the Chanda here and Karmic. 196. As Savatthi, then the Venerable Ananda approached the Blessed One and said to him, Venerable Sir, it is said the word. In what way, Venerable Sir, it is said the word? Whatever is subject to disintegration, Ananda, is called the word. The Noble One's disciple. And what is subject to disintegration? I, Ananda, is subject to disintegration. Forms, eye consciousness, eye contact. Whatever feeling arises with eye contact as condition, that too is subject to disintegration. The ear is subject to disintegration. The nose, the tongue, the body, the mind is subject to disintegration. Whatever feeling arising with the mind contact as condition, that too is subject to disintegration. Whatever is subject to disintegration, Anand is called the word in the Noble One's disciple. In the next one also, empty is the word. Then the Venerable Ananda approached the Blessed One and said to him, Venerable Sir, it is said the empty is the word. Empty is the word. In what way, Venerable Sir, it is empty? In Venerable Sir, it is said empty is the word. It is Ananda because it is empty of a self and of what belongs to a self, that it is said empty is the word. And what is empty of self and of what belongs to a self? The I Ananda is empty of self and of what belongs to self. Forms are empty of self and of what belongs to self. I consciousness is empty of self. So when you are reading like this, you must go into your I. That's why you must pay attention to you and you must go into your I. Okay? If you are really contemplating. And then see the emptiness. Because now we are now normally generally thinking as this is me, my body. But when we are going in and now seeing like that, and whatever consciousness arises using the I, it's also empty. Sometimes now you are seeing something, okay, like you can even look, you can take the eyeball and break and see where is this person that I am seeing. Even this bag I am seeing, I can remove and break the bag inside. That's why since it's happening in the consciousness, using the I. Sometimes, just to give people idea, sometimes is to some monk used to show me this, that's why I tell. Like I used to tell them to hold their finger from the below of the eyeball and While looking at something, just shake it. And looking at something, just shake. And see what happens to the thing that you see. You have to keep it open. And then look at somebody or the roof or whatever. And just shake and see what happens. Do you see that image also shakes? Is the image there or here? It's here. Just to give an idea, you must focus here to know more things. Not just here somewhere in the way is here. But there are these monks who explained to me like this those days. Some of them disrobed later on. So they also too much looking is good. With some explanation. Too much looking to these things in, not that maybe they like that, but it's okay to look at like that, but make sure you not too much in an analytical or intellectual way. You must get it more into your kind of intuitive life, not too much. He has read both Tripitaka, he told me. You were very good friends actually, when I ordered in the initial time. But then he told me, I used to tell him he told me, when you have read the whole Tripitaka, it's like you have seen the Buddha, like that he told me. I was thinking personally, how can you just by reading only you see the Buddha? It's by now what you're doing now, contemplating one sutta or one verse even, and then when you're, then only you can, you will see by seeing the teachings internally. So, though he, just by reading and just being knowledge of this whole Tripitaka, I don't know how it can happen. So, but it was his karma. He was a very bright, very brilliant. Later, I think, got married also. And got involved in also drinking. I got to know somewhere far away. But we were very good friends. Like friends means. Initially, when I ordered, he was like my same age, I think, and also serious about the teaching. Like my teacher also told one time, he came to our island to go with us, Armstrong. He got fever also when we returned because it was not too tough for him physically. But he was so, my teacher told him, he's quite sincere and interested, and he's really devoted to Buddha's teaching. But destiny, I knew, but at the same time, when he was changing, a lot of problems came to him one by one. It's not his fault, it's some karma. When the level of good karma is fading away, then anyone can fall into difficult time. It's not that the person is bad or something. That's why when they come to ordain to me, I very much check in some ways whether they have continuing good supporting karma. That I do. So, not just ordain anyone so that you have to face some difficulty. Like if I ordained when I was 18 years old, and I really wanted to, I would have disrobed after some time. But that doesn't mean that, so luckily I waited for the right time, like 28. Even though my teacher forced me means in his blessings like a big force, 3 years, when I didn't take that, I waited. And 27, I saw things were this thing in 28. It was all correct time. So that's why we don't know after, and also after that 31, when I was like 24, I went on a walking tour without money and just a plastic bowl and all that. Then I became like a skeleton, like from Katara to Kataragama. That time I was so spirited and I didn't think of the body, but if I went too much like that, maybe, so some people were telling me, what happened to you, like when they saw me. So then only I took up this job 25, 26, to balance myself, to take the food properly and sort of not to overdo this. So it balanced actually. And but when I was 31, 32, I'm more old physically. Then I went like 1,000, 1,500, 1,800 kilometers one month, one way, 1 month, 2 months up and down. No more, nothing. So by that age, by that time, more punya, more karma, more strong this thing supporting karma. So our bodies may be old that time, but but they are young. But if our good karma is not there, we have to know how much we can do, what is our situation. Then only we must do things. Majority of today people don't see all these things, so they make wrong decisions, or other wrong advice is given. Some people have come to me, a Muslim. He was a Muslim boy. So every forest monastery where he went, he's interested in the Dhamma and all that, they want to ordain him. So when they came to me, he also came to me that time. I saw him when he was coming, I knew there's some certain karma he's having. So I gave him the advice to get married. Yes, it's true. And he was also shocked, but then I explained to him. And don't be frightened, I told him. Just because his parents were old, they will never agree. If we ordain, they will curse, and his karma will not be complete. So they are old also, they can die anytime. So I told them, just do the meditation and make them happy and cool. And if they arrange marriage for you, just go for it. If you have really good karma, it will come close and it will not work. Don't worry. Just go, just allow it. So I used to go to India and come, and then one time when I came back, I was wondering, he said December I went to India. April there's an engagement he told me. So he told he went for it. So I came after June or July and I'm wondering what happened to this boy. So when he came back, he said, oh yes, but the way you said, they arranged everything, all right, I just stayed, and then the other party, they did this thing, so I did work out. And I'm continuing to meditate. That's what you had to happen. Shooting the ordination and going to the all psychologically so affected by parents, you're doing so much this thing there. So he went on like that. Later he got married also, he didn't last long, that. Because I knew that he has some bad karma. He had to work out. So better he had that bad experience with marriage than monk. He get more disgusted with the worldly life than, so it happened like that. So, but anyway, he's continuing to practice and progress rather than disturbing the karma he has already done in the previous life or making more. $185. You read that, right? Empty is the word, right?
Yes.
Not like before, I don't think I can tell stories and do all this together. Anyway, this is a very good sutta. 193. Very, very special one. You are fine?
Yeah. 206.
Because I will teach you the diet. Listen to that. And what bhikkhu is the diet? The eye and the forms, the ear and the sounds, the nose and the odors, the tongue and the taste, the body and tactile objects, the mind and mental phenomena. This is called the diet. If anyone bhikkhu should speak thus, having rejected this diet, I shall make known another diet that would be mere empty boast on his part. If he was questioned, he would not be able to reply, and further he would meet with vexation. It's not the one I was expecting, or the second one, let's see. The second one, bhikkhu's consciousness, this one, very good. Bhikkhu's consciousness comes to be in dependence on a diet. And what these people have, and how bhikkhus does consciousness come to be independent on a diet? Independent on the eye and forms, there is rises eye consciousness. The eye is impermanent. It's very important. Changing, becoming otherwise. Forms are impermanent. Changing, becoming otherwise. Thus, this dyad is moving and tottering, impermanent, changing and becoming otherwise. I consciousness is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The cause and, now this is very important, the way of thinking. Okay? මේක හරි වටිනා සූත්‍රයක්. මේක විදර්ශනාවට බුදුහාමුදුරුවෝ විදර්ශනා කරන විදිය හරිම ප්‍රකට වෙනවා. කරන විදිය. I consciousness is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The cause and condition for the rising of I consciousness is also impermanent. What is the cause and condition for the rising of I consciousness? බුදුහාමුදුරුවෝ උත්තර දීලා I කියන්නේ මේක. Buddha has told the answer and then he's asking this question, so that you reflect properly more. What is the cause of I and what the I rising of I consciousness is also important. When we cause I consciousness as a rising, independent on a condition. I consciousness is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The cause and condition for the rising of I consciousness is also impermanent. What is the cause and condition of I consciousness? Just now it was told in the beginning. That's right. We have that extra one intention. Okay. Yeah. So, what in the beginning it is said, telling about the I and the form. It's telling that it's changing, tottering, like that. Okay. Alright. So, if it is depending on a changing, tottering thing, the consciousness will not also change and totter. Then it has to totter and change. I consciousness is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The cause and condition for the rising of I consciousness is also impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. When we cause I consciousness arises in dependence on a condition that is impermanent, how could it be permanent? The meeting, the encounter, the concurrence of these three things is called eye contact. Eye contact too is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The cause and condition for the rising of eye contact is also impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. When we cause eye contact as a rising in dependence on a condition that is impermanent, how could it be permanent? I and the form, how is changing, must be changed. The consciousness arising depending on that, it has to change too. You can very easily contemplate that. Contacted because one feels, contacted one intends, contacted one perceives. Thus, these things too are moving and tottering, impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. Depending on the ear and sound, they are by the ear consciousness. So it goes on to all sense organs. (197). Then the Venerable Maharaj approached the Blessed One and said to him, Whenever sir, it would be good if the Blessed One would teach me the Dhamma in brief, so that having heard the Dhamma from the Blessed One, I might dwell alone, diligent, ardent and resolute. Here now, Malamadike Buddha, what should I say to the young bhikkhus when a bhikkhu like you, old age, burdened with years, advanced in life, come to the last stage, ask me for exhortation, in brief. Although Venerable Sir, I am old age, burdened with years, advanced in life, come to the last stage, let the present one teach me the Dhamma. What do you think, Madhukya Buddha? Do you have any desire, lust or affection for those forms cognizable by the eye that you have not seen and never saw before, that you do not see and would not think might be seen? No, Venerable Sir. It's also very interesting. Do you have any desire, lust or affection for those sounds cognizable by the ear, nose, tongue, the body, the mind, for those orders cognizable by the nose, taste, like that? Cognizable by the mind that you have not cognized and never cognized before, that you do not cognize and would not think might be cognized? No, Venerable Sir. Here, Malakya regarding things seen, heard, sensed and cognized by you, in the sense, the seen, there will be merely the seen. In the heard, there will be merely the heard. In the sense, there will be merely the sense. In the cognized, there will be merely the cognized. When Malakya regarding things seen, heard, sensed and cognized by you, in the seen, there will be merely the seen. In the heard, there will be merely the heard. In the sense, there will be merely the sense. In the cognized, there will be merely the cognized. Then Malakya you will not be by that. When Malakya you are not by that, then you will not be therein. When Malakya you are not therein, then you will be neither here nor beyond, nor in between the two. This itself is the end of suffering. I understand in detail, Venerable Sir, the meaning of what was stated by the Blessed One in brief. Having seen a form with mindfulness muddled, attending to the pleasing sign, one experiences it with infatuation mind, and remain tightly holding to it. Many feelings flourish within, originating from the visible form. Covetousness and annoyance as well, by which one's mind becomes disturbed. For one who accumulates suffering, thus Nibbana is said to be far away. Having heard a sound with mindfulness muddled. The other way it is said, okay, when firmly mindful one hears a sound, when firmly mindful one sees a form, one is not inflamed by lust for. That means sati, mindfulness and wisdom. When you are experiencing an experience that way, then one experiences it with a dispassionate mind and does not remain holding it tightly. One fares mindfully in such a way that even as one sees the form and while one undergoes feeling, suffering is exhausted, not built up. For one dismantling suffering, thus, Nibbana is said to be close by. 200 page decline. This is quite a long section. Too long. 200. And how bhikkhus is one subject to decline. Sutras name is decline. How bhikkhus is one subject to decline. Bhikkhus, when a bhikkhu has seen a form with the eye, there arises in him evil unwholesome states, memories and intentions connected with the matter. The bhikkhu tolerates them and does not abandon them, dispel them, put an end to them and obliterate them. We should understand thus I am declining away from wholesome states. It's very good, like, you are seeing some object and you're just enjoying or allowing yourself to enjoy it. Hearing or something, any music maybe, tasting some food. So when you're allowing, you should know, when you remember this sutta, you're declining. If you're trying to remember the Dhamma, have faith and try to control, then you're developing. So this is good when you have read like this. Not necessarily you're doing something really bad, but still something enjoying or allowing it. This is also a good one. 202. It's like just after this sutta. Because I will teach you about one who dwells negligently and about one who dwells diligently. And how bhikkhu does one dwell negligently? If one dwells without restraint over the eye faculty, the mind is soiled among forms, cognizable by the eye. If the mind is soiled, there is no gladness. Now, this is a good one. You asked for that question last time. Now, when you enjoy, soil means it's get defiled. Okay, you are enjoying some sensual pleasure or something. So there's a special thing. The gladness won't come. It's a little bit remorse, like regret, like remorse. It's like it's opposite to gladness. That will come. Like, you can see people, a lot of people when you look at their faces, like they are maybe Mercedes-Benz or whatever they're driving, or maybe White House also. Look at their body's face. You can see that they have mostly enjoyed, you can't say, they have mostly enjoyed suffering. Okay. Okay. So if the mind is soiled, there is no gladness. You don't see that gladness in them. You can see the heavy face, heavy inside. Heavy, it shows in the outside. Heavy and also kind of like Dalai Lama and all this, that's the uniqueness you can see. That gladness. That's why people are very amazed by this thing, the Eastern this thing, they feel so faith also. But, there's like Amitanandamai, I don't know whether she comes here. She doesn't know a word of English, nothing. So the priest also wondering what attracts people. She hugs, she's called the hugging Amma, yes. Yeah. So the simple, that expressions, this thing, so at least she's like a mother, a universal mother. So that those things, no language is necessary, and people, all races, all people, they feel immediately this thing. So this happens, like eye tracker, the mind is soiled. Among forms cognizable by the eye. If the mind is soiled, there is no gladness. When there is no gladness, there is no rapture. When there is no rapture, there is no tranquility. When there is no tranquility, one dwells in suffering. The mind of one who suffers does not become concentrated. So when the mind is not concentrated, phenomena do not become manifest. Because phenomena do not become manifest, one is reckoned, one who dwells negligently. That means you don't understand deeper things, it doesn't become clear to you naturally. And how bhikkhu does one dwell diligently? If I'm going to the third paragraph. How bhikkhu does one dwell diligently? If one dwells with restraint over the eye faculty, the mind is not soiled among forms cognizable by the eye. The mind is not soiled, gladness is born. Okay. When one is gladdened, rapture is born. When the mind is uplifted by rapture, the body becomes tranquil. Tranquil in body experiences happiness. The mind of one who is happy becomes concentrated. When the mind is concentrated, phenomena becomes manifest. One is reckoned as one who is diligent. Living gently. (204), not yours. Because whatever is not yours, abandon it. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. And what is it because that is not yours? The eye is not yours, abandon it. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. Forms are not yours, eye consciousness is not yours. Eye contact is not yours. Whatever feeling arises with eye contact as condition, whether pleasant or painful, or neither painful nor pleasant, that too is not yours. Abandon it. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. The ear is not yours, the nose, tongue, the body, the mind is not yours. Whatever feeling arises with mind contact as condition, that too is not yours. Abandon it. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. Suppose because people were to carry off the grass, sticks, branches, and foliage in this Jeta group, or to burn them, or to do with them as they wish, would you think people are carrying us off, or burning us, or doing with us as they wish? No, Venerable Sir. For what reason? Because, Venerable Sir, that is neither ourself nor what belongs to ourselves. So to be good, the eye is not yours. Whatever feeling arises with mind contact as condition, this is like shortening, okay? That's what eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. That too is not yours. Abandon it. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. $207. Because when what exists by clinging to what, do pleasure and pain arise internally. Venerable Sir, our teachings are rooted in the present one. When there is eye, because by clinging to eye, pleasure and pain arises internally. When there is ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind, by clinging to the mind, pleasure and pain